everyone, Kaina Kekoa here. I play Princess Jasmine in the North American tour of Alladin, and we're going to take you on a whole new world of Trumpet Jerks with Paul Barron.
So I'm here with a real trumpet jerk, Paul Barron.
Yes, everybody thinks so.
Yeah, and so welcome to Houston. How do you like the heat?
Oh, I'm loving it as long as I'm inside.
Yeah, yeah. When it's like 103 outside,
Oh man,
it's a little much.
But at least it's a wet heat.
Yes, it's good for your skin. That's
yes.
what I
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're here playing Alladin, the touring show.
Yes.
The Disney Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Show tour.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't.
First National.
Yeah, First National. Yeah.
Alladin. Yeah.
So and it's I get to play with you for 3 weeks. It's great.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're almost at the end, I guess.
Yeah, we have this weekend
Yeah.
left, so another 5 shows, and then we're done. Yeah. So before we get into talk about you, this show is Alladin. It's big, even by Disney standards, right?
It is. It's huge. Yeah. Should I tell them?
Yeah,
the
I
size
think.
and
Yeah,
everything?
yeah.
Well, as I was telling you, the previously largest touring show was Lion King, and that had 22 trucks, I believe it was. And this is 31 semi-trucks to move this show.
Wow.
So, and we also have 11 trucks that are duplicates of one another, and then they'll leapfrog. So in other words, when we finish here in Houston, we'll have 11 trucks stay behind for a 4-day, I think it's a 4-day post-load out.
Wow.
While we're already, starting in Washington, D.C., our next city.
Okay.
And then as soon as they finish here, they'll leapfrog over D.C. and they'll go to our next city after that, which I think is Charlotte.
Wow.
Anyway, so there's always about 20, 21 trucks with us in a city, and another 11 leapfrogging over the next.
Wow.
So it's huge.
Yeah, it's big. And how many people are actually traveling with the show?
I just saw a rooming list and just today, and I think we're 75 that we travel. So it's even larger than the number that I thought it was.
Yeah. So it's 75.
About 75 people that we travel, and then, for instance, in the wardrobe department, I think there are 3 people we carry, but we'll pick up an extra 14.
Wow.
Musicians, we carry 8 normally. We pick up 8. Carpenters, I think we may carry 4. We probably pick up another 10. So it's that 75 number can easily double, if not triple, for the running of the show.
Yeah.
And then there's all the merchandise people. We carry 2 people for that.
Wow.
And Disney, of course, because they're all about merchandise as well.
And is this show still running on Broadway? Is it still?
It is. Yeah. I think they're into their 4th year now, maybe 5th year, something like that.
And how long has it been on the road?
This show started, I think it was February of 17 in Chicago, and it was 6 months sit down there, and then that was prior to 5 of the 8 of us traveling musicians. So we joined the very next city, which was Minneapolis. And for me and the rest of us that joined then, that was September 13th of 18.
Wow, so you've been on the road.
Wait, is that right? 18? No, of 17. That was of 17.
Wow.
So I will have been on the road for 2 years straight as of September 13th.
Wow.
Trumpet Jerk's my favorite show. You're always going to find one, every city. You'll never run short of finding Trumpet Jerks. What a show.
And you never get tired of playing this show, obviously.
Well, I have to play games with myself
to
keep it fresh. But playing with guys like you, different people in each city.
But then you can think, well, at least next week I get to play with a good trombone player.
Yeah, I have the next city to look forward to. See what kind of a trumpet jerk I am?
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. We got that thread through there.
Yeah.
But it really, Nancy and I, who was our first keyboard player, last night we were talking and how nice it is to have fresh faces, fresh sounds, things to listen to. For better or for worse, sometimes it's outstanding, sometimes it's not. Most times it's somewhere in between there, but it's always new and it keeps it fresh for us travelers. And she was saying the same thing.
Cool, No, I mean, you and I we played Full Monty together. It's got to be 10 years ago, right? When you came through.
Closer to about 18 years ago.
Oh, whoa.
Well, maybe 17 years. Yeah.
So we were like
We were 12. I
We
think.
were 12. When
Yeah.
we played that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we did
Pretty
news.
talented.
Yeah, exactly. And then we did nooses together.
Yes, and that was about
Yeah.
4 years, 3 or 4 years
Yeah,
ago now. Yeah.
And so this is basically your job. You're tell us how you started. You obviously you started playing as a kid, and how did you get into trumpet then?
Oh, into trumpet. Well, that was my uncle's fault. When I was 5, he was staying with my grandparents, and I guess in between selling a home and buying another one, and anyway, he was staying with them, and he had this trumpet, and I snuck down into the guest bedroom downstairs at my grandparents' place, and his trumpet was laying out, and I thought, well, nobody will ever hear me or catch me playing a trumpet, so I'm going to try this thing. And you know, of course, trumpet sound kind of carries a little bit, and so they listened for a while, and my uncle came down and he said, you got a real natural face, we got to get you a trumpet. And so he convinced my parents.
Wow.
And, the deal was that, and this was before I started first grade, so
Yeah.
I wasn't reading English or Swedish or any other
Or
language.
any major language.
Yeah. So, and I couldn't read music or anything, but the deal was that if I played for 6 months on my own, up until the start of first grade, then at that point they would get me into lessons. And I was probably making a hell of a racket, and not
You
knowing
still
what I
are,
was doing.
actually. You
And I
still
still
are.
am. Yeah. Yeah, now sometimes I know about half of the valve combinations. It's good.
That's pretty good for being a trumpet
I'm
player.
getting there. After
Yeah.
50 years, it's a
Yeah.
slow start. you know.
Yeah. So and then you played through school and
Yeah, then it was
yeah.
community bands because where I was growing up,
Yeah.
the Vancouver area in Canada.
Yeah, we should say you're not American.
I am now.
You are now.
We're
So
transplanted, yes.
Okay, we're both Ferners, as we
Yes.
say here in Texas.
Ferners.
Ferners,
Yeah.
But we are Americans, actually.
Not from around these parts, are
yeah,
you?
exactly, yeah. So you're from Canada.
Originally Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Which is, I hear it's beautiful, not quite like Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you laughing
It's
about?
not quite as warm.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it seems like there's a lot of music going on, actually.
It was huge.
A great city to grow up in, being a musician, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were known as Hollywood North,
Yeah.
and so we had a lot of recordings. Not as many film dates for sure, but just hundreds and hundreds of jingles
Yeah.
and TV series and specials. And you know, back in the day when everybody seemed to have a variety show. You know,
Yeah.
Tom Jones and Paul Anka and on and on and on. Everybody had these musical variety shows, so there was a lot of work for a lot of musicians.
So
there.
you started working early.
Yes,
Okay.
I actually joined the union, American Federation of Musicians, when I was 15. I had to
Okay.
audition to be able to get in. And I had to have letters of recommendation from
Yeah.
3 like very prominent people in the music industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a different time back then.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
It's not like I
yeah.
started working full time at 15 years
No,
old.
no.
But
Yeah.
by 18, I was working pretty steadily
Yeah.
every weekend,
Yeah.
and then starting to get jingles by the time I was 18, 19, 20,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. That's actually it's kind of how I got started too. I had my first like real paying gig when I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, or maybe 15 was the big band gig.
Yeah.
And then it's like when I was 16, 17, I was actually working.
That's
you
great.
know, which is when I tell that to kids nowadays, they're like, "Really, you could do that?" But it's I guess it was a little bit different back then, actually. Yeah.
Well, I suppose there was
yeah.
a lot more work,
Yeah.
and the work that there was, shows that we're doing.
Yeah.
You mentioned Newsies earlier.
Yeah.
That was 1 trombone, 1 trumpet, 1 reed.
Yeah.
You know, back when we started, shows
It
were
was-
no
yeah.
less than 2 of each of those
Yeah.
instruments, if
Yeah.
not 5 reeds and
Yeah.
3 trombones and 3 trumpets.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate to be able to grow up through the ranks.
Yeah, when they actually
You
yeah.
start on last trombone or last trumpet,
Yeah.
and you move up consecutively as
Yeah.
you mature and get better, and
Yeah.
maybe the older guys are retiring and moving on.
Retired
Paul
band
Barron.
directors, they're trying to
He's
get
a
her to come
real
back and join
trumpet
us.
jerk.
So,
Cool. So, and you did go to college. Are you educated? You feel?
I'm not educated at all. no, I still drag my knuckles on the ground when I walk and everything.
but you did show up in college for a little bit.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
School and I were not best of friends, but I do have a bachelor degree, and
Okay, yeah.
I hope to be working on a master's degree soon.
Oh wow, yeah.
With the
cool,
hopes
awesome.
of being able to maybe, you know, retire from the road at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years down the road or something,
Yeah.
and then just settle in one spot back home and,
Yeah.
and be able to teach. And
Yeah.
so that's my ultimate goal.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So, from what I understand, so you basically you were around Vancouver playing commercial gigs and mostly commercial. I mean,
Mostly
you play
commercial,
classical
yes.
too, but you're a lead trumpet player. I mean, you're a lead jerk. Actually, you know, when you play, it's like everybody's like, holy moly, he can play.
Well, that's my first love, is playing
Yeah.
big band and
Yeah.
lead trumpet, and then all the like Jerry Hayes style of horn section writing. I love his writing. I love the sound. I mean, right down to the way that they mix the horns and everything.
Oh, Jerry Hay,
Yeah, it was
which
amazing.
is kind of cool because you know I have like not even tens of episodes of Trumpet Jerk, but I have a couple. But Charlie Gary is on one, and
yeah.
he was actually Jerry Hayes' teacher.
Is that right?
Yeah.
At Indiana University?
No, it was like Jerry
Prior
Hayes was
to
like
that.
yeah. So Charlie was, I mean, he was like 21. He just started in the Chicago Symphony or something.
Oh yeah.
And Jerry Hay was 14.
Wow.
So they were both very, very young. But
Yeah.
but that's Charlie said, yeah, I'm Jerry Hayes' teacher.
Wow.
That's pretty cool to be able
That's
to
a
say
nice
that.
feather in your cap.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Wow.
So so that's kind of what you did. So you did that in Vancouver for a while. And
Yeah.
when did the switch happen, when you started going on the road and do the Broadway tours and things?
Well, so in 1992, my wife and I and son moved down to Washington State, and we had been traveling back and forth between Vancouver and Seattle quite a bit. My wife's mother was quite ill and ultimately
Yeah.
succumbed to cancer and stuff.
Oh.
But as we were driving through Bellingham one day, Bellingham, Washington,
Yeah.
which is where I live now, you know, I said, I always loved Bellingham. It's a nice small town.
Yeah.
It's 150,000 people, and it's about equidistant to Vancouver and Seattle, about 90 minutes drive or so.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, we'd probably get a lot of house for a lot less money here, and this way, you know, it's easier for us to go and see our families in either direction. Let's buy a place here. And so, literally, I think we got off the freeway, got a real estate newspaper, and started making offers. And
Oh, that's cool.
within a very short while, we had done that, and then
Yeah.
the plan was I was still working in Vancouver, teaching privately
Yeah.
and doing shows there, and recording industry was starting to diminish, but all my work was still in Canada.
Yeah.
So my commute was a pretty good one every day.
Yeah.
But then the recommendations for tours started happening as you build a bigger reputation or better reputation,
Yeah.
hopefully, with the head contractors like back in New York City and
Yeah.
so on. And they keep seeing your name over and over on their shows. Pretty soon that led to, you know, one or two or more of them saying, hey, we got the show going out. I wonder if he's available to go on tour. And at first I turned it down because my son was too young, and then as he got older
Yeah.
and recording industry work was dying off, then I thought, well, this is a pretty good transition.
Yeah.
And so since 1999, I think that's when I did my first long-ish tour. I was going 3 months only that
Yeah.
year. And then it's grown to this point. I haven't been, well, this is the longest that I've not been home, and that was January of, where are we? That was January of 18.
Oh wow.
I
You
was
haven't
home for
really
one
been-
night, yes. I
Wow,
drove my
yeah.
car back
Yeah.
home, and then left it there, and then I flew out the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite an
Lots of
accomplishment.
touring.
Lots
Yeah.
of touring. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed with it because I mean I play these shows when I can, you know, because often they conflict with opera or ballet. But like in the summer, it's perfect for me
Yeah.
to do this, and I'm so impressed with the the quality of playing that you guys do that are traveling with the show. I mean, it's extremely high quality.
you.
I mean, you get the best people on the road, obviously. Yeah, and
We are blessed in that, yes.
yeah. I mean, amazing musicians, but also how you actually keep everybody's like, it seems like, at least on the face of it, actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like everybody has a great attitude. You come in and you have to. I mean, what has to suck for you guys is you have to rehearse the show, even though you played it for 2 years.
Right.
When you get to a new city and you know the schmucks like us show up and don't know what we're doing, you have to sit there and rehearse with us for a day.
You know,
And-
I actually really enjoy that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not a lot of us travelers do, like
Yeah.
especially if you're, and I won't speak for them, but I would imagine, because I've spoken to some others in other tours that are rhythm section players. Well, they don't have, you know, surrounding them all the local musicians and so on. Like if you're a drummer, typically we're carrying a drummer and maybe a bass and definitely keyboards and so on.
Yeah.
And so they're in their own tight-knit unit.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm typically the lead trumpet that sits amongst, you know, all the local horn players.
Yeah.
So I may have, in this case, I've got 3 other brass players and a couple reed players, at least on our side.
Yeah.
And so I've got a lot of things to listen for and to, and help out when I can, try to be a better lead player if I can. And you know, if there are questions, answer it in such a way that I'm not going, oh, not this stupid question again, because that's the first time this new person has played it. So I have to, you know, keep that in mind that I haven't played with them for the last 6 months or a year or whatever, and it's a very valid question. So my job is to help lead and get us all on the same page and feeling good about, you know, playing together as a unit. And hopefully that translates into making good music.
Yeah, cool. And also, what's I guess happens the last few times I played actually Disney shows like Lion King and Aladdin and these. It's like they actually send out the video ahead of time with just the conductor. From one of the shows, and so you can actually sit at home with your part and actually practice and learn it.
You can play it all in real time.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching a conductor.
Which was very helpful.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not an easy show. This one, I gotta say,
There's not a lot of meter changes or anything. It's pretty
No.
straightforward as far as that. But there's a lot of pushing and pulling.
Yes.
And things depending on what's happening on stage.
And
Either with
a lot of playing.
It is a lot of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you take our book and weigh it, it's probably a good 40% more weight just in the amount of pages that we're playing. And then on those pages, there are tunes where, as you know, we're 9 pages, and then it's a segue to the next one that's 7 pages. And it's just nonstop.
Yeah. It's a lot of playing.
Trumpet Jerks is my favorite show because when it's over, I feel so much better about myself.
Hey, Paul. Is it okay if I practice the tunes from Alladin a little bit?
I think you should.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Next.
You didn't like that one? Or?
It's too happy. It should be more minor. Maybe. Not demented. Maybe try diminished. That's it. That's perfect.
Really? Huh.
I can show you the world. I can show you the world. Yeah, that's closer. Much closer. Yeah.
That's close.
I think
okay.
we've got it.
Awesome. Hey,
Good.
thanks, man.
Oh, my pleasure.
Paul, I hear you're an author. You have a book out.
I am an author. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
You're a published author.
Published, like with words and everything.
And I'm so impressed because most trumpet jerks I know, they barely read.
I did have a lot of help.
Okay,
No,
but you write too.
I actually wrote it, yes.
With the correct spellings
Yes.
most of the time.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
thanks to spell check, yeah.
Yeah. Is it like fantasy, fiction? What's the title of your book?
Okay. Yeah, enough of this fun stuff. It's called Trumpet Voluntarily, which is a play on
That's
words.
fun. Yeah.
My wife came up with that.
Yeah.
I was sitting in a pit playing Newsies, and she just kept texting me furiously with all these new titles. And
We should tell all the young people, we never have the phones in the pit.
Never, never.
Never.
Oh no,
ever.
we were true professionals from
Yes.
the time we entered the pit till we leave.
Enter the theater, actually.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so she texted you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I saw it after
Yeah,
I finished the show.
Right, yeah.
And she texted Trumpet Voluntarily, and I thought, well, I can't use that. I mean, it's, you know, Henry Purcell and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So, and then I read it again, and oh, well, that's very clever.
Yeah.
And then the subtitle is, so Trumpet Voluntarily, a holistic approach to maximizing practice through efficiency. I have to work on that
Yeah.
sometimes to remember all that. But
Yeah.
anyway, the idea is, it's the holistic approach part of it is listening to our bodies,
Yeah.
learning how to listen to the signals that our chops and the rest of our bodies are giving us, and warm up and feed the machine the proper nutrients that we need.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if
yeah.
we're really beat up and we're doing this, and you know, doctor, it hurts my foot when I do this. Well, then don't do that. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's that kind of common sense stuff. A lot of anecdotes of things that I've experienced through the years
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the pit or other situations. A lot of things that I've learned from other people what not to do. Like, for instance, showing up with the right instruments to play the gig. Don't show up to play a Broadway show that doesn't call for a C trumpet with a C trumpet, and then having never looked at the book to learn the transpositions, you know. And
Yeah.
I've experienced that. So there are
Okay, yeah.
those kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anecdotes in there as well. Things that a lot of people don't think of, pacing of a show. You know, how do you get strong enough to do it? And then that's only a one-off. You know, how do you get strong enough to do it 8 times a week for month after month after
Yeah.
month? So I talked about how to do that.
Yeah.
Mute choreography. A lot of people come in and they've learned their parts, but all open trumpet, and then they're scrambling to
Oh.
get their mutes, and they don't make the correct mute changes.
That's a classic in the opera orchestra.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many mute drops I've heard over the years.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah,
And usually when it's like supposed to be a sensitive, you know, kind of sensitive moment, it's,
Oh, yeah.
you hear mute.
yeah.
So.
That must be Murphy's Law, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or some other Irish guy that
Yeah,
came up
exactly,
with
yeah.
the mute dropping law
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Paul is a very clever, super nice, over energetic, always happy, always just a little off kilter. I think he's on some kind of medication or something actually. But we'll as long as he keeps it going, it's all that matters. All right. But that's what I think of Paul. Great guy though, with medication.
So do you feel other trumpet jerks should, spend the $4.95 on this book? Or-
Absolutely, everybody should spend it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear, Chris Jowdis, I think he's got it as mandatory reading where he teaches now.
Oh, wow.
A few other universities
awesome.
are using it
Yeah,
as part of their master classes. And,
Great.
Because there's things in there that I certainly never learned in college, and you can't really learn unless you're out there doing
Yeah.
the job.
But that's also what I feel like. There's so many things being a musician kind of hustle around like we do that there's no way to learn that in college, or you just have to learn it by making those mistakes, or,
Yeah.
or actually talking to experienced musicians who
Exactly,
actually
yeah.
know what they're doing.
Like
So,
for
yeah.
instance, playing a salsa gig until 2 in the morning and
Yeah.
waiting around until 3:30 or 4 to get paid finally.
to get paid. Mi billete, mi
Yeah.
billete. Oh yeah, we've
Yeah.
experienced that.
Hey, sorry, buddy, we didn't make too much money today.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to pay you, and next week. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, you've got a church service at 8 the next morning to
Yeah.
play delicate piccolo trumpet. And how do you learn, and how do you make that adjustment, and so
Yeah.
on? We just don't learn that in college.
Yeah, yeah.
So
no,
this book
exactly.
has got all that kind of stuff in it.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. These days, not only do you have to be an instrumentalist, a trumpet player in my case, but you have to wear a lot of different hats, playing a bunch of different styles. In this show, we have classical, we have some sort of 80s power ballad rock kind of stuff, we have swing, we have everything in between. But we now have to be kind of savvy as far as electronics and things as well. Obviously, we're all playing into microphones. There's a microphone for everybody, every instrumentalist in the pit. But we also have these mixing boards down here called avioms, and we have to now be familiar with how to make our own mix. So it's kind of ideal in some ways where we can get the volume of each instrument as we need them for our own job. In order to hear what we need to hear, I can dial up the keyboards and crank those, even though they're clear across the pit without any amplification. And despite all of the plexiglass that we have behind and in front of us, we can really hear everything very clearly. I don't know if you want to pan over to the drums, but he's in a total booth over there. And despite that, we can hear absolutely everything crystal clear. So, in my case, I have in-ear headphones that I wear and have to, dial in my own mix, but that's completely separate mix from everybody else. So I can hear what I need to hear, they can hear what they need to hear, and we can all blend really well, even though we're so isolated with all the plexi.
Hey, so Mark, you've been on the road with Paul here for a while, right?
Yeah, a good year and almost a year and a half, yeah.
Did he tell you that he has a trumpet?
He didn't tell me he has a trumpet.
Okay.
He has a trumpet?
He told me that he has a trumpet.
I thought he was just a guy that came along and helped set up, put out the music.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
See, I've got these earplugs in, and thank God for that.
Don't
because-
take him off.
No.
So Paul, unlike every other trumpet player, you're not really into mouthpieces and things, and gear.
I'm not nearly the gear hound that some people are.
Okay.
I haven't changed my bell or mouthpieces or anything during this whole run of the show.
Okay, gotcha. But you do have a lot of trumpets, like instruments, and you do have your own line of mouthpieces.
I do.
Yeah. So first, I know you want to talk about the mouthpieces because that's your own design, but you're playing a Colicchio trumpet, right? Which like a classic.
I am on this
yeah.
show. Yeah, just the trumpet, the piccolo, and flugel are both Jupiter, EXO Jupiter.
EXO, which is the top of the line Jupiter.
It is, yeah, and they're outstanding instruments. The piccolo, I've put it up next to the Schilke P54,
Yeah.
and it's the same kind of design, long bell.
Okay.
And for my liking, it's even prettier sounding. And
Yeah.
I've always felt as a commercial lead player that that I wasn't approaching the piccolo delicately and in a pretty way as much as I should.
Yeah.
So I always felt like I was a doubler playing a piccolo trumpet. With this one, it's so pretty sounding, and so you can play so delicate on it
Yeah.
that I actually feel like I'm a piccolo trumpet player.
Yeah.
I'm fooling more people.
Yeah, no,
with
and
this instrument.
Yeah, and I've seen you play it, and it looks great.
It does. It's a very beautiful horn.
Yeah, it is.
And the flugelhorn I would
Yeah.
stack up next to anything.
Yeah,
as well.
it's very shiny.
It is,
I've
yeah.
seen that. Yeah. So, but are you guys working on getting or designing a lead trumpet, like a Jupiter EXO lead trumpet?
I'd
Or-
like to. The jury's still out on whether
Okay.
they're going to allow me to do that.
Yeah.
But I keep plugging away, and
Yeah.
their instruments are fantastic for classical, and if I wasn't playing, lead trumpet, and we talked about the pounds of music that we have to
Yeah.
play. If it wasn't such a relentless show, then I would probably be playing that more. But
Yeah.
it's just the weight factor and the fact that we have to play so many hours every day.
Yeah.
I just find that this horn is more efficient for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that Jupiter, in time, will want to make
Yeah.
a more commercial lead oriented horn
Yeah.
than what they have now.
Yeah.
Everything else they've made is wonderful, and they have done that now in the trombone world,
Yes.
from what I
Yeah.
understand.
No, I tried the
Michael Davis or
No.
no,
John.
Fedchuk.
Fedchuk. Yeah, I
Yes.
saw him at the ITF here. I got to play with him last summer at the ITF.
Okay.
They had like one jazz star night. Obviously, he was the star.
Yeah.
But I was there with them on stage. But he kind of told me to try his horn and stuff, and it's a great.
They are fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, compared to the Jupiters that were 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot compare it.
Oh, it's
This
night
is
and day.
So much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of equate Jupiter and Hyundai cars
Yes.
in the same
Yeah.
sort of era as when they got really good, and Yamaha with Honda. Honda cars.
Yeah.
You know, way back when we were kids, the old CVCCs and the Civics and stuff,
Yeah.
they were just piles of junk, and
Yeah.
they would rust immediately. And
Yeah.
now, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, they got really good.
Yeah.
Well, Hyundai was a little behind, you know, by
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
And I feel Jupiter and Yamaha, Jupiter was a little behind in
Yeah.
the professional,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
true professional line.
Yeah.
But now they've certainly gotten there, and they're
Yeah.
outstanding. And I've been with them now for 16 years, I think.
Oh wow.
Four,
Okay.
Well, between 14 and 16
Yeah.
years, yeah.
And then you have your own mouthpieces too.
I do. I have a line with Picket Brass,
Okay.
and so there's a lead, a studio, classical, cornet, piccolo, flugelhorn. I got two flugelhorns.
Yeah.
One because I had to play a show that had written high G, double high Gs in it
Whoa.
for flugel, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
So the mouthpiece it's really kind of a commercial, bright sounding
Yeah.
flugel mouthpiece. But then the other one
Yeah.
I use is just a very deep sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
French conical style.
Yeah. So how do you? Obviously, you're a great player. I mean, you're a pretty nice guy too. I gotta say. Yeah.
For a trumpet
For a
jerk.
trumpet jerk. So how do you get these endorsement deals then?
Well, I guess the first thing is that you know, you develop a good reputation as a
Yeah.
player and as a person, that hopefully companies would want you representing their products. And then the second part for me of the equation is that I love to share a good find. You know, if I find something that works really well for me, I can't keep my mouth shut about it. And that works well for the manufacturers, because like I show up to a different town on Alladin, I have two trumpet players, one on either side of me, every single city.
And of course, every trumpet player that I know of, they're gonna look over. Oh, so what's he playing?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is what's
What's your mouthpiece? What's your horn? What's your what are those mutes? And
Oh yeah.
And it's led to sales for all of those companies,
Yeah.
for sure. I know for a fact, especially like Solo Mute is another one that
Okay.
that I endorse, and there have been some cities where I'd show up and they go, wow, let me try your straight, and now your cup, and now your Harmon, and then pretty soon, days later, they're buying the whole set. you know.
Wow.
It's pretty
And
cool.
they're that much better then. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
You don't have to touch the tuning slide
Yeah.
either. It just you
Yeah.
put them in and you play, and
Wow.
they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
So here's the first show I played at the Hobby Center, the Full Monty, and there's my little trumpet thing there. So it's a lot of fun coming back here and to see the wall art for all the rest of the shows, you know, since Full Monty that I played. And on to the next. Here's the wall art for Evita. We were here during Hurricane Rita doing Evita. This sort of rhymes, right? Anyway, that was kind of a crazy week here. We got shut down, I think, on Thursday night, and we were down for 5 shows and tried to evacuate, but we couldn't. So anyway, we found Specs liquor store, and the next 4 days were kind of a blur.
We actually have to play a show here pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I should warm up a little bit.
Okay, well, let's do that, yeah.
Yeah, so we have, so it's a 2.5 hour show, and it feels like we're playing 2 hours and 40 minutes
Yeah.
of that time.
Yeah. We start right out of the gate, you know, it's a
Yeah.
high C out of nowhere, pop, like that,
Yeah.
and then it stays up there for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's a cool show. So, Paul, do you have any parting words to all your fans here all across the greater Houston region? Because obviously
There must be one.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, my viewership is not that great actually, you know? And I'm not even working on it.
Yeah. And these aren't even plugged in.
No, they're not plugged in.
Yeah.
But any parting words? So I mean, you're such a positive guy. That's how do you keep it? How do you keep your corners up and get up in the morning?
Well, enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy playing the trumpet, and
Yeah.
I enjoy making music with people and meeting new people and coming back to Houston to see old friends and you know, all of that is all positive. So
Yeah.
if you look for that positive aspect, and it makes getting up and coming to work a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
and also, I think I mentioned playing little games with myself to keep things fresh. I did in the first interview, maybe not in this one, but
Yeah.
just to keep things fresh. Like I think I mentioned, trying to spin the air through the mouthpiece clockwise one day and counterclockwise the next. And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't believe that those actually do happen. I'm not
No.
delusional or
No,
anything. But just to hyper focus on something, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
to keep your head in the game. And I think I mentioned about, you know, looking at the forest with the trees, and then pick a tree, then pick a bark, and then a piece of the bark, and then a bug on the bark, and the wings, and then
Yeah.
a spot on the wings, and concentrate on the tiniest little minute detail.
Yeah, and so you can really focus when you're actually in the,
Yeah.
you know, in the game playing the show.
And it
Yeah.
keeps it fresh,
Yeah.
because to hyper focus on the spots of that
Yeah.
wings
Yeah.
one day, and then maybe hyper focus on the speed of the vibrato of the oboe player the next
Yeah.
night. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
It keeps it fresh, and
Yeah.
there's always things to listen for. And by the time you've gone through maybe all your bag of tricks in one CD, we move on to the next.
Yeah.
And now I can start them all again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, so sometimes I try. Well, what happens if I play this tune in a major key instead of minor?
Yeah. It's something new to listen
Yeah,
for.
it didn't work.
And it keeps it fresh for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then you won't see me at the next show. Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Paul, this has been a pleasure.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah. Great.